Hello, everyone. Welcome to Namibia Institute of Management and Training. Thank you for joining us and thank you for watching. And thank you for being part of this progressive group. We are excited to be with you and we are honored to be part of your team and also to be sharing whatever that we'll be sharing, which we believe will change lives and we will provide the greatest impact on the way how you lead the people at your workplaces, at home, in your communities, wherever you are. What I want to share with you right now is we believe that everybody is a leader. At home, at work, wherever that we are, we believe that we are leaders. If you are a parent, you are a father, you are a mother, you are a leader because you lead the children, you lead the family. If you are village head, you are a leader, you command a large group of the following. And at workplace, it's also the same. If you've got a team, you're a football player, you're a netball player, a basketball player. In one way or the other, you'll find that you assume a leadership position. But there are best practices and norms and values that would make one to be the best leader. You'll find that in each and every group, one emerges to become a leader. And you take the group of people to certain levels or to certain places or to certain destinies. It's because of the qualities that are vested in them, which make them very different from the rest of the group or the rest of the team. But are you a leader? That is the challenge that I have today with you. I want to ask you, are you a leader? And if you are you a good leader? If you're a good leader, are you doing the best? How do you tell that you're the best? And how do you tell that you're leading your team very well? Is everybody happy with your leadership styles, your qualities, the way you conduct, the way you interact with them? Let's look at this. What lessons do you learn from historical leaders that we have so far, whom we have heard about, whom we have read about? Let's talk about, for example, one of the greatest leaders in the world. I know this. Some people are not Christians, but here we're not talking about Christianity. We're not talking about a religion or any other way of life. What we are talking about here, we're talking about specifically leadership. I want to give an example of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, he had leadership qualities that I think are quite compelling, and leadership qualities that I think are quite encouraging for us to adopt or to embody, for us to become good leaders that we aspire to be or that we envision to be. I will list them. I will not look one by one in depth, but I would challenge you to go and research much more further and find out. But when I was studying his historical life during the years that he started with his mission on earth, I've learned something. One, it was visionary. He had a vision. Two, he actually portrayed servant leadership. He became a servant to his people when he appointed his 12 disciples, and he used to submit to them, and and he humbled himself with humility, and he managed his emotions very well. He controlled, despite the fact that he was being attacked in so many times, labeled, given names, called up different names, insulted, but emotionally he managed his emotions very well. That he had very good emotional intelligence and courage. You know, he was so courageous. He would go to the mob that he would know that when I go to these people, there will be chaos and these people will be very angry and they would not listen to him. But he continued with his mission because he had the vision. The vision was the drive. It was driving him. Communication. He communicated effectively, and he did not look at which people he was speaking to. and he managed to communicate diversely with the different groups of people. So he managed diversity very well. Resilience. He was so courageous in fighting against the setbacks that were pushing him not to achieve his mission on earth. And developing others. He developed his disciples. He would empower them to go and deliver the message, heal the sick, pray, and also share the word of God alone. And until we can witness this, when he died, the 12 disciples continued with his mission. And they actually did it very well, more than during the times when he was alive. Legacy building. Which is last but not least, and then you find that Jesus Christ, he left a legacy, and it's an indelible mark that will never be rubbed off with more than, I don't know how many billions of people that are following him today worldwide. And this shows how effective his leadership qualities are. And that makes him one of an adorable figures that we can follow in terms of leadership, which is very critical. So in my own perspective and in my own judgment, if I use that word, if you allow me, Jesus Christ was one of the greatest leaders that ever lived on earth. I know some might have their own arguments, but for the sake of progressive leadership that we want and which we want to see in terms of commanding the people and leading them to a destiny which is good for them, make people happy, and make them live in harmony, I think he did quite well, which is quite impressive. There are leaders that were amongst that we know that I would want to mention and share with you. These were greatest leaders that also lived. We have got the likes of Mahatma Gandhi of India, we have got Abraham Lincoln of America, Nelson Mandela of South Africa, Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, then we have got Julius Nyerere of Tanzania, and Winston Churchill. You know, these are the leaders, but these leaders, if you look at them, they shared one thing in common, and this also one thing which they had, which they shared, adopted from Jesus Christ. That, like I was talking about, like I'm not preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ here. It was emotional intelligence. If you look at across the board Mahatma Gandhi, you would find that he had this ability to manage or to self-control, the ability to manage himself, to manage his emotions. If you look at Julius Nyerere, what they went through, Kwame Nkrumah, if you look at Nelson Mandela, the humility in himself, when he got into power, he was in prison for a longer period of time. Kwame Nkrumah, at the end of the day, he was disposed. Julius Nyerere, how he led and fought also and became a frontline state for the Southern African freedom. All these things which led them also to sacrifice their lives. So another thing which was more in common with these people was compelling vision. What was this compelling vision amongst them? The compelling vision amongst them was the vision to see people free and living in harmony, regardless of race, color, creed, or whatsoever that we may use. And they wanted people in the whole world to just live as free people. Let's look at example. Abraham Lincoln, what did he do? Abolished slavery immediately and stopped slavery in America. And he didn't want he didn't want that. That was that sense of humanity. Just that sense of humanity makes him one of the greatest leaders that ever lived. This is why he was assassinated in the end of the day. So this is very important. But what are the lessons that we learn from these people, which sets them apart from all other these people, despite the fact of a compelling vision and the emotional intelligence that I've just mentioned? You'll discover that they led with integrity. They were leading with integrity. Their words, their actions, their values, they were aligned with the times. And that's very critical. So when you are leading, make sure that your actions, the values that you follow, your principles and guidelines, and they are aligned at all times. There is consistency in your leadership. Remain truthful and be consistent in whatever that you are doing. This is what you find, which was common with these leaders that I've just mentioned. Also, in them you discover that their drive was to save the people. They were serving the people. This servanthood, which was within them, something that is inborn within them, not for them being served, but for them serving the people. This is very critical. So wherever you are you a good leader that serves the people, or you want to be served? Many of us, you would find that would want to be served. They were developing others. They would develop some leaders. Check all the leaders, what makes them different. They might be having this ability to analyze, they might be having this an ability to present, ability to run, or being revolutionaries. But because they did not develop that, only the lack of that leadership quality makes them not to be great leaders. Because a great leader, you must develop others. Jesus Christ developed others. He developed his disciples. So you find, so like Nelson Mandela, he did at the same time. To those ones who were disposed, in the end of the day, you would find that they did not become good leaders by end, because they did not develop others very well. Because if you develop other leaders, you would find that they will follow your ways. I'm not mentioning, like, for example, Kwame Nkrumah, because he was disposed in the end of the day, he did not become a good leader. But if you look at the way how his proponents on the African Pan-Africanism, today we are following them. That shows that he was a good leader. They would communicate effectively and clearly. And complex ideas, they would make them very simple for people to understand and create memorables, in a memorable way, that people would remember what they would have said, that they have taught us this, they have taught us this, and they have said this. And this became very critical in this regard. So you'd find that in terms of their communication, these leaders are very, very effective in communication. They remain humble, humility. Many of these ones, you'd find that they're humble. Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, the humility that was invested in them. You know, humility earns trust and strengthens the leadership that you possess. So if you're humble, you find that you earn much more trust. People would trust you because of your humility. If you are not humble, no one would trust whatever that you are doing. They would stand for the truth. What drove them and what made them, and which was a pushing factor on them, it was the truth. They stand on the truth, and with no any compromise on their principles and ideologies, and that made them much more popular, and they against any personal gain. So what they were looking at is the gain of the majority, not the gain of them as individuals, but they were looking at the gain of the majority. They were fighting for the people and not fighting for themselves, or not fighting for their personal gratification. They, like I said in the beginning, that emotional intelligence, they exercised serious self-control. They were masters of their own emotions, of their own words, and their own actions. They would know what they speak and what they do. That was very critical. That made them and different leaders, and made them greatest leaders that ever lived. So you might not have had all this. What makes people just talk about Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, then talk about Julius Nyerere, Nelson Mandela? People think that Nelson Mandela, because Nelson Mandela lived in the prison for 28 years, so that makes him a great leader. No. What I'm telling you now is what sets them apart and what makes them very different from any other of those ones that are called leaders that you see today. They build institutions. They were building institutions institutions that would outlive you as an individual. This is what they were doing. They were focused on creating systems and the people that endure beyond their period in office. Look at Nelson Mandela, how they resist, the people of South Africa have stood firm against apartheid. Look at the freedom that we are enjoying right now here in Africa. It is because of these leaders. Abraham Lincoln stopped slavery, and it doesn't exist until today. And we have abolished it, and we will fight it, and it will never again rise. So you see, they built those institutions, and these institutions, we are following them. They went on further to strengthen the Constitution of America, which they are following today. Even you check the Pan-African ideologies and principles and guidelines that we are following today, they were created by Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere. They were behind them, and this made them. And Haile Selassie, these guys were so intelligent and so beautiful people that we would want even to follow and even adore the way they were leading. If we could lead our ways the way they were doing them, we would find that today we live in a better world. In our organizations, when we are living, how do we adopt and embrace these qualities in our groups, in our teams? That is the most critical question. How do we address, how do we adopt these? How do we bring them? Of course, these were political leaders. Yes, they were political leaders. But now what we are looking at is organizations. In our organizations, what is very important for you? How is humility very critical for you as you are leading the people that you are leading today? You are the director, you are an executive in your office, you are an assistant in your office, but you have got a team of the people that are following you. How do you communicate with them? Do you explain things very clearly to them? Do you assure that you are a servant to them? Do you ask them so that they contribute? Or you are always dictating things you believe you know better than them? Do you involve them in decisions that affect them? Or do you invite their contributions and value them? Do you reward them for anything that they would have contributed, be it by words, be it by anything that they would have done in an organization, performance based? Then you see, these people have done perfectly well, and then they deserve the reward. That will make you to leave a legacy in your organization that you're leading. You will leave an indelible mark that will never be rubbed off, and you become greatest leader in your organization. And you can be change makers, and they will follow you. The other way of legacy is like, you see, when you are leading a group of people, remember that your ways of doing, the way you speak, that is your words, your actions, your values are very important if they are aligned at all times. Why? Because remember that you are making an influence. Leadership is all about influence. You are influencing their behavior. You are influencing the way they are doing their things. So they will follow everything. Many of you CEOs, many of you directors, many of you executives in your office, you'll find that the people in your department or in your organizations, they are behaving the way they are behaving because that's the way you behave. You have created that behavior. You have created that culture because you allowed it to be there. So this is very, very important when it comes to leadership. So leadership, it is one of the greatest responsibilities that we have been entrusted as mankind. So we must take responsibility to make sure that whatever that we do it perfectly well, and we lead very well. It is very, very, very important that we know that we are serving people, we are serving our organizations. Our drive, what is our vision? Our drive, it's our vision, the vision for the organization. What is it that the organization wants to achieve in the end of the day? Do you drive it towards that? So it is your actions, it is your words, it is the principles that are around you, that you value, that you respect, that will make you a greatest leader. So I want to challenge each and every one of you today to say, as we create leaders without borders. These are the qualities that we believe will make you one of the greatest leaders. May you guys just go back to yourself, do a self-evaluation, assess where your weakness is. Are you communicating effectively? Are you having a vision? Are you so visionary that you are looking into the future? Do you challenge the status quo, challenge the opportunities that are there and take advantage of them? Do you lead with integrity? Do you lead serving the people? The servanthood, is it within you or it's not within you? How many people have you developed so far that will occupy your position, be it at home, be it in the office? When you vacate that office, will there be anyone who will be in a position to occupy your office and do the same and carry over until they reach the same destiny that the organization wants to be? If you are working in the government, are you serving the people very well? Are people happy with your services? Are you looking at the impact that you're making? So leadership is all about the impact that you are making on the people that you are leading. How many lives are changed because of your position, because of your actions, because of your attitude, because of whatever that you are doing? Do you invest much in developing other people? How is your communication? Are you humble? How much do you manage your emotions? Managing our emotions is very important. How do we control ourselves? It is very critical. So this is the whole issue about just an introduction to what leadership is all about and how we would want the leaders that we are looking forward to create. So as we go with the Namibia Institute of Management, all of these, even when we are communicating in our platforms, even if we are doing our trainings, whatever that we are trying to do is to develop the leaders that have got the abilities to take the world to a better future, to a better stage, a very good world that everybody enjoys. This is very important for us. Thank you very much.